enough, but hey, we got some wisdom up in the building now.
Word wisdom, wow in the house.
How you doing?
I'm good.
You know what I'm saying? What's really good with you? What's popping? How's the day going?
Today is good. I just got through doing some more work with the youth as always.
You badass kids.
Hey, that's a blessing. When you working with them, they out the way.
Yeah, man.
I can't talk no shit.
But when they working with me, then that means they listening. So
yeah,
I like that.
Right on.
So that's the most important thing.
I can't talk no shit about badass kids. She met me when I was one. Badass kid, you know what I mean? Getting it cracking. You know what I'm saying? If you don't mind, give us a little background of, you know what I'm saying, what you do, where you been at, what it is you do for the community and stuff like that, because you do a lot.
Well, you know, a lot of people know I worked at Job Corps for several decades. I actually graduated from Job Corps.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
And then I worked with youth there off and on for like 25 years, and so that was a real blessed experience. And you know, we at some different times right now because they just closed Job Corps, so that's a whole nother.
Actually,
that's a whole other
they're
topic.
gonna open it back up.
Actually, yeah, it's
They
crazy.
were saying something about lifting the federal ban that Trump
and they did.
Yeah.
We won the battle.
Let's
bring back Job Corps, man.
For now.
Yeah. They say until like November.
And that's the reason why when they first initially announced it, they used the words pause.
Yeah.
And that's mainly because, to be honest, anytime that we've got a Republican president over the time that I was working there, and even since then, it's always been on the chopping block. You know, it's always on the chopping block is what it boils down to. But what I wanted them to understand is, to be honest, Job Corps is actually the it follows the program that Republicans love.
Right on.
That is, you know, I mean, I'm not to doubt it, but it's strict. You gotta, it's government program.
See, I
so
kinda told
so
him
you gotta go
it
there
was
and be
kinda
about
like-
your business.
like
you can't go there and play.
military-ish.
Oh,
I was saying that.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, no.
I don't see
Okay.
it.
I said, as far as
business,
like
you can't go there and play.
military-ish, I
Oh,
was saying that. As far as like a structured settlement.
if you've never been to the military, then you don't have anything to really compare it to. Cause I ain't gonna lie, a lot of people who've been to juvenile, they compare it to jail. Because there's all that rules and all that structure, but we all know military structure and that structure is similar when it comes to rules, regulations, regimen, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But when it really boiled down to most young people, they asking for that structure, they need that structure. Job Corps was a voluntary program, and that was the dopest thing about it. Government got a little scared, so they made it a closed campus because they're like, when you come here, you can't be coming and going and all of that. Why? Because we want to keep you safe. Ain't nothing wrong with that either. We kind of need that as well.
Safe right away, you feel me?
They're trying to protect their investment.
Yeah, they're trying to.
Because
Definitely.
that's what it is.
That is what it is, and that's okay because at this moment, their investment is me as that young person if I come into that program. So that's where I was like, we'll see. And not to mention, I always laughed about the fact that the government never wanted to put money into programming like entrepreneurial, barbers, auto mechanics, stuff like that, because it's cash and fizz.
Yeah.
They don't have no control of what, they can't count your money for taxes and different things like that. So they're gonna just leave it in other lanes. So they teach you healthcare, they teach you cooking, which is all good.
Yeah.
It's all valuable.
But
you just
it
gotta
needs
be
to
able
be more trades.
Yeah, it's trade, but you gotta be able to realize that you need more than that. It's kind of like when we pushing people to raise the minimum wage, not realizing that as they raise the minimum wage, the cost of living gonna go up too. So then really it ain't no money. It's the same money that it was when it was $10 an hour.
$15, $20 an hour ain't shit now.
Except now, exactly. So that's what I used to tell them years ago. We don't need to be fighting for that. We need to be just educating ourselves.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. Yep. Whatever that looks like. You know, you gotta learn more than what you learn now. That's the biggest thing that I really try to tell young people. But worked with Job Corps for those years, and then I worked with homeless youth. That was a whole nother thing.
Oh man,
that was a whole nother thing. I felt like Job Corps was a safe haven because they had a zero tolerance for drugs and all of that type of stuff. So I didn't have to deal with none of that. But when I'm dealing with these homeless kids and they out here dabbling and trying to have me think they just smoking weed because they nodding out, and I'm like, we don't do that. We don't do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I lost a lot of kids. 5 years, I lost a lot of kids. I lost more kids.
I've seen a lot of people that I know die from fentanyl and other shit.
I've lost more kids to fentanyl than I lost to gun violence.
But the beautiful thing is, you know, at least the beautiful thing is on the north side, I recently seen, you know, 36 and Penn up there. You know what I'm saying?
And here, Penn and Lowry too type stuff too.
Don't let me get started on that though, because to be honest, we gotta come to a different stage in the game because you know maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you found $500 worth of dope. You know what I'm saying? Some cocaine. You knew it wasn't gonna kill nobody. You might still go out and just find somebody to sell it. I'm gonna tell you right now. Let me find $500 worth of blue pills. They going in the garbage. In the toilet. They going in the garbage. I give a fuck. I don't care. It could be $1,000.
That's real shit.
It could be $1,000, and I could be broke. And my rent due tomorrow. I'm not selling no blues to nobody, man. That's the part that's scary. They busted the guy out in Bloomington, and it was 250,000 pills that he had, right? And so, one of the biggest busts, right? And then they do those test batches. So they're going to test every 100 or whatever to see the lethal dose. Every single pill they tested was lethal. Damn. That's crazy. I'm not, the Russian roulette to get high, we got to get to a different space with this.
I feel like one of the things that has pushed the drug epidemic right now with the youth and shit is because these kids right now aren't striving to be kings and queens. They're striving to follow this, follow that, like this, like that. Everybody's a follower. It all goes back, like I was saying, even with the music shit. It's all cut and paste. So monkey see, monkey do. And now we got an epidemic and some shit on our hands.
Talk your talk, OGs.
And then you know they played that game with this. It was just as simple. I watch it, like I said, I'm working with young people. When do they take their wisdom teeth out? When they about 19, 20, they giving them, back then they was giving them like 20 perks. Yeah. To take out wisdom teeth.
Not no more.
Man, by the time matter of fact, you might not get nothing. You might not get nothing. Why? Because you didn't need it. But they pushed this thing, and y'all can look it up. It's called a pain agenda that they did. The doctors pushed that whole pain agenda, and it wasn't directed just towards people of color. It was just towards let's get this paper of color. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying about that.
You know what I'm saying?
Because of the whole thing. It isn't the pharmacies that are directly like people overdosing and shit from the pharmaceutical shit, like they are the shit in the streets. But the pharmacies are responsible for getting the youth, the elders, and everybody in between hooked on shit.
In the first place.
And then when your doctor cuts you off, you gotta hit the streets.
And
so you end up with
how you got cut off, you got abruptly cut off because they got in trouble. They started getting what they call appeal meals and all that. Doctors was going to jail, all the things. And in the meantime, you got people who was addicted and they couldn't get to it. I watched my kids go on the street talking about, I had a young boy come back to him, I died today. What do you mean you died today? He was like, man, da-da-da. And then so he's telling me he bought a perk on the street. You bought a perk on the street? What do you mean? That was your first mistake. Know that wasn't no real perk. You trusted Bob in his basement with a pill press. That's
because Bob said it was good.
Yeah, no, and so that's what I watched that too, because people was buying what they thought was perks, what they thought was Xans, what they thought was even meth on the street. Then they just said, forget it, we ain't gonna do that. We gonna call it Fetty, or we gonna just call it blues, and then basically it's a question mark. You don't know what you get.
I feel like the blues kind of spun off the Perk 30s.
Oh, it did. It did because people knew that the fentanyl was in the Perk 30s. That was on the street. Nothing on the street. If it didn't come out of somebody's prescription, it was going to be garbage. Oh yeah, and they could care less. And they could care less. And the part that's scary about the scary part about that is I've never been a big conspiracy theory person. Yeah. But if we know that the CIA took a blind eye to the crack epidemic when it came to our community.
Come on.
What makes you think that they don't have any blinds eye when it comes to this? They could give two. They could give two for real.
Yeah,
like,
they
for real,
don't give a fuck.
No, don't give
it.
damn at
You
all.
know what? Because they profit off just people in general.
Yeah.
But especially like the black community and shit. I don't know. The government and the way that shit is structured is just crazy. It's.
You gotta get smart, man, because this shit is right in front of us. Y'all remember the movie Deep Cover?
Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Heard of it?
I always try to tell young people, read it. I mean, watch that movie. Watch that movie. Because that movie's over 20-something years old, but that movie actually predicted the future. Jeff Goldblum was sitting in that movie talking about synthetic drugs. Synthetic drugs, they're the wave of the future. They're the wave of the future. I'm like, man, this here. This is garbage. You don't even know what's in this. That's why they started smoking this shit off the damn foil. It's considered a harm reduction. The fuck is that? I work in treatment now. That's what I do. Different realm, which is good balance from the fentanyl stuff that was, you know what I'm saying? I was burnt out, but then on the weekend I work at treatment with people who's trying to deal with their addictions and stuff, and all of that. But